Welcome back to Giants Latest. Let's talk about Brian Burns, who spoke to the media after Shane Bowen was fired and the Giants promoted the outside linebackers coach, Charlie Bullen, to defensive coordinator. Brian Burns had nothing but amazing things to say about him. He said that obviously because he's his position coach, that they are very tight. And Burns said, one of the reasons why I'm as productive as I am this year and having the season that I'm having is because of Charlie Bullen. So I love that he seemed very excited about the move. He was asked about his thoughts on, the fact that it wasn't someone like Dre Patterson, who's been here for a while, or Mark Manuel, who has experience calling plays. And Burns said, look, those are all great coaches. They all probably would have been great as defensive coordinator. This is the move that they made. It sounds like they're going to focus on being aggressive, so they went with Bullen. And he said, I have a lot of respect for Bullen. He's a great coach. So I love to hear that from Brian Burns. Obviously, he's doing really well working with Bullen. Bullen came into the Giants last year and is in his second year and obviously having a lot of success with someone like Burns. One of the things that I want to see is Bullen be able to try and unleash Abdul Carter and really help him, because Abdul Carter has had a good season, not great. And I know that when you pick a player in the top 3, the top 5, they're supposed to be an impact player right off the bat. And even though Abdul Carter is getting a ton of pressures, light years more than all of the other rookie edges that were drafted this year, the sacks and the closing are not happening. And that's obviously one of the reasons why the Giants are not winning games. And it's not just him that can't close. It's literally everyone on this defense outside of Brian Burns. So I'm excited to see what he does with this team moving forward. I even was listening to Carl Banks, and he was saying that there are a lot of good coaches on the defensive side of the ball. And he said, the coaching is definitely a problem. There are parts of it that I can tell that it's bad coaching as to why the players are doing what they're doing on the field. But, he was like, they obviously needed to make a change at defensive coordinator, and we'll see if this is the right one. I know there's some speculation that the only reason they promoted Bullen instead of anyone else is because him and Shane Bowen are best buds. And I don't know whether or not we'll ever find out if that's the truth. I am going to be optimistic on Bullen. Brian Burns spoke very highly of him, and he's having an unbelievable year, a career year. This is the best year of Brian Burns' career. And I'm just going to be optimistic that, I don't know, maybe he's going to be able to do something better than Shane Bowen with this defense, and I hope that includes being more aggressive. So we will start finding out on Monday night against the Patriots, but until then, it's just speculation. But I like what I've seen from Bullen. I like what I have heard about him. We will hear from him, I guess not on Thursday because it's Thanksgiving. So maybe the coordinators will speak to the media on Friday instead, and we'll get his thoughts on things. So we'll see. But at this point in the season, we're 2-10. I want to see a better defense at this point, because the offense is playing amazing, which is we're going to talk about when we talk about Kafka, but the defense has to step up. So with that being said, the Giants made a roster move. They did sign a cornerback to the practice squad. Nothing to write home about, not super exciting, but his name is Miles Purchase. He went undrafted in 2025, and then the Chargers picked him up, and then the Giants, I believe, stole him from the Chargers practice squad. So my guess is one of the reasons why they ended up signing him is because there's a possibility that Tay Banks could be out a little bit longer due to his hip injury. This is speculation. I don't have anything that backs that up. But he obviously missed Sunday's game because of a hip, and we don't know when Paulson Adebo is going to be back, which is hopefully going to be this week, because I just throw Miles Purchase on the field. Honestly, I'd rather see him in literally anyone else than Tay Banks. So if that's why they did it and he's active on Monday, then by all means, let's go Purchase. I will take it. Let's round it out with this. I want to talk about Mike Kafka, because in his 2 weeks since he has been the interim head coach, there are a lot of things that I've been very impressed with. Now, he's not perfect, and there are things I'd like to see him improve upon, which we're going to talk about in a minute, but let's talk about the good things first. Number one, he has this team fighting their ass off, and obviously there's still issues with the defense, which is why he fired Shane Bowen. But I think the fact that the offense looks incredible against two really good defenses in the Packers and the Lions. They put up 20 points against the Packers, 27 against the Lions. In normal circumstances, that's enough to win the game. And I just feel like, there's a lot to really like about what this offense has done this entire year. I mean, they have scored 7 game-opening touchdowns on the first drive, which We barely even saw that many touchdowns last year in a whole season. Like, they could not score points. So whether it's been Jackson Dart or Jameis Winston, even I think Russell Wilson did it at one point too, it's just been impressive the way that this offense has been running. And, what I really like about what I've seen from Kafka too is that he's not afraid to kind of just unleash the beast and unleash anything. And the way I feel as a fan at this point when we're 2-10 is make the game exciting for me to watch. Show me some trick plays. I want to see Gunnar Olszewski throwing the ball to Jameis Winston and Winston breaking tackles and scoring a touchdown. Like, if they're not winning and they're not fighting for literally anything at this point, they're not going to the postseason, they're not getting a wild card spot, and they're not fighting for the division, then hell yeah, give me some trick plays, let's see it. And that's how I feel about the defense too. Like, I'll be open-minded about Charlie Bowen. Like, I really tried to give Shane Bowen the benefit of the doubt. I thought it was going to be virtually impossible to mess up this defense with all the talent that I have, and boy was I wrong. So I just want to see the defense kind of match the offense's energy. And what's crazy is they did. The fact that the Giants had a lead the entire game pretty much against the Lions, unheard of. So this offense is firing on all cylinders. The offensive line has been unbelievable. Unbelievable. Do you know that in the game against the Lions, where you could hear the noise on the TV, and I saw Kay Adams and some other people who were at the game said that it was unbelievably loud. You're in a dome, so you don't have any outside noise. The offensive line did not have a single false start. Not one. Not one. Where this offensive line has not only had a lot of false starts this year, they've had a lot of them in the red zone to the point where it has pushed them out of the red zone, and then they can't score a touchdown because those extra 5 or 10 yards that they have gotten consistently have completely screwed them over, and they couldn't function from it. So that goes to Carmen Braceau, the offensive line, and Mike Kafka. And look, they're only 2 games into this. I want to see if that's a pattern that continues, but I want to talk about it because it's very noticeable. The second thing in the same realm is our team in the last 2 weeks has had less penalties than our opponents. And again, it's 2 weeks. We're going to see how it develops. I hope that I'm talking about this every week, that it's something that Mike Kafka has done well. One of my biggest complaints with Brian Daboll is that the team is undisciplined and unprepared. And if there's one thing that I can say that has been true under Mike Kafka, is at least the offense has come out and been prepared and disciplined, because the lack of penalties, the lack of false starts in the red zone, the consistency of moving the ball with your third string quarterback has been unbelievable. You've got the trick plays. You've got Wan'Dale Robinson, who's now had 2 career high games this year. You've got Theo Johnson, who finally figured out that he could catch the ball. He's been incredible. The run game, Devin Singletary has had to step up with Scadaboo out and has been great. Darius Slayton has been playing better in the last few weeks. There's been a lot to really love about this offense. And I know so many of us going into this season, my thought process was we upgraded the quarterback position, so in theory we should be better. But there's still question marks around the offensive line, play calling, the whole thing, right? And now what's so upsetting is that you look at this offense, you look at, even what Daboll did. They were productive under Daboll. They're even better and more productive and cleaner under Kafka, and they still can't win games. I thought the offense was going to be the problem this year. And lo and behold, the offense is not the problem, even with the third string quarterback out there. It's unbelievable. But I really think that when we talk about Kafka and we talk about some of the things that he's done right, we have to talk about the discipline, because it is so much better in just 2 weeks. So that's why I'm optimistic that the defense is going to make some changes with a new defensive coordinator. And look, Kafka's still calling the plays. Not that much has changed, but you can tell he's got a different type of command and respect from this team. Even the defense, I know they suck at stopping the run. It's obviously been a problem for them. But again, in the last 2 weeks, you hold the Packers to 20 points until the last, 2 minutes of the game? The Lions, you're holding a lead the whole game until the last 2 minutes again. So they were prepared. They knew how to slow down their opponents. And even though they suck at stopping the run and they are literally the worst in the NFL, Gibbs is Gibbs, and they got lucky losing Jacobs. They still were able to make some key plays when it matters. They were prepared for what their opponents were going to do. And, ultimately they fell off in the last 2 minutes, and we'll see if Bolin can change that at all. But, I really feel like Kafka has impressed me in ways that I didn't think he was going to. But he has not been perfect, of course. So these are the things that I want to see him improve upon. The biggest one to me is running out the clock in the last 2 minutes of the game. The Packers game, especially when I believe the Giants still had more timeouts, they are holding the lead. And you can't trust your defense at that point. Run the ball. And the Giants offense, they haven't been perfect at running the ball, but they've been going against two really good run defenses. And both times they have put over 100 yards on the ground, which is better than what they were allowing, both opponents. So at that point, you're running the ball consistently, right? Not amazing. You're not having these 60-yard runs that Gibbs has, day in and day out. Seems like play in and play out. But I really just would like to see him be better about doing that. I think that's something that he really needs to work on. And the fact that it's happened 2 weeks in a row is a little frustrating to me. I want to see him figure out those mistakes and fix them. So I hope that Monday night against the Patriots, first of all, I hope it doesn't come down to the last 2 minutes, because it's infuriating at this point. Like, can we close out the game early, please, and let us enjoy the last 2 minutes of the game without us all having heart palpitations? I would really enjoy that. I know a lot of other Giants fans would enjoy that too. But that's been the one thing for me that I really want to see him do, is run the ball at the end of the game and try to run out the clock. Other than that, I think that the 2-minute drill has mostly been good. I know there's still so many complaints about the field goal versus going for it on the touchdown. I like the fact that he's aggressive. We're 2-10. The season's over, okay? If he wants to go for it on fourth down, who gives a shit? We win the next 4 games, great. Guess what? We're still not in the playoffs, and we're still not in the NFC East hunt. So let him figure it out the hard way. He's got to learn from his mistakes. So I hope that happens. That to me is the biggest thing that I want to see him clean up. And the second thing I think is just, ultimately as the head coach, what goes wrong on the defense falls under you too. I don't care that you're an offensive mind. You are the head coach. And when the defense is making the same blunders week in and week out, I know he was the offensive coordinator and couldn't really do much about it. But now the next 2 weeks, he fired his DC and he's promoting someone that he thinks is going to be the right choice. So we're going to find out soon enough whether it is the right choice. But I like that he's sticking to his guns. He's making decisions and doing things his way. I hope that Joe Schoen was not involved at all in the promotion of Bolin to DC. We may never know the truth on that. But if Bolin is good, then great. Then it's fun to watch Giants football again. So if there's anything I'm missing on Kafka, let me know. I know the biggest complaint again was the going for the field goal versus the touchdown, but overall I think the last 2 minutes of the game is where I really want to see him clean it up. I think he's done a nice job with the substitutions. I have really liked the play calling the last 2 weeks. I know some people have had gripes with it, but I think it's been good. I think the way that he has continued to force the run has been a good thing. I talked about this when Kafka took back play calling, was that one of the reasons why the Giants were so successful in 2022 when Kafka was calling the plays was that he stuck to the run. And look, you had Saquon Barkley and Daniel Jones, who Jones accounted for over 700 of those yards that year, so that's a part of it. And we'll see what he does with Dart coming back too. I think there's going to be less design quarterback runs. I think he's going to be really smart about it, but we know Dart likes to take off, so it's going to be interesting to see that balance. But I just think that for the most part, for an interim head coach, he's done better than I expected. And like I said, I do think that the players respect him. I think especially on the offensive side of the ball, you are watching these guys make acrobatic plays. They are putting their shoulders down and driving people forward, and they're forcing every bit of those extra yards. So I really just want to see the energy matched from the defense this week. And if they don't do it for the next 5 weeks and Kafka doesn't win games, then that's all an indictment on him. And I know there's a lot of people that are saying, like, I don't want Kafka anywhere near the head coaching job. And then there's the flip side that are like, I actually think he's done pretty good. The reality is that it's nice and all that they've kept games close and the offense looks very productive against good defenses. It doesn't matter if they don't win games. Kafka will not be in consideration for the head coaching job for the New York Giants if he does not win football games. Now, he's lucky because the schedule gets real easy after the Patriots, but again, they've also should have won at least 5 other games at this point throughout the season that they didn't win because of the defense, because of coaching, because of all of it. So we will see if that changes on Monday night against the Patriots. Time will tell. But thank you guys for watching and make sure you subscribe for more.